people, welcome back to my space. I know it's been a while, I've not been making content. I'm very happy to be back here and to be able to make content. And today I'm going to introduce you to a new segment that I want to introduce on my channel, which is the way I see it. And today I first want to start by telling you why I'm doing this, because I find myself to be a very controversial person in terms of my views on things that are happening in the world. I always have the opposite view in a room full of people, and I feel like most of the times people like myself fear to talk about what they want to say about various topics. So in this The Way I See It segment, we're going to be looking at how can we just learn to express ourselves, and we're going to be looking at different topics from politics to entertainment to just very important matters of national interest on this page. And today, guys, now today in Kenya, the parents took back their kids to school. So personally, I'm very interested in the curriculum aspects, because you've seen what has happened with the Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Examinations, whereby everybody's getting an A and a B plus. During our time when we went to school, guys, we had to work really hard so that you can be able to even get a good grade. But when you introduce corruption in an academic system, then you're not able to give value to education. If everybody can just get an A or just buy an A or a B plus, we're even going to have a challenge being able to take these people to the university. So to chip in on this debate, I first of all want us to have a very serious discussion about curriculum. I've talked about this so many times, and I feel like it's time for me to give you the unfiltered version about our curriculum. Why are we still allowing our children to learn with a colonial designed curriculum? Why? Why are we still letting our children grow up thinking that the best job they can get is through employment, while the people in the West are teaching their children how to be able to work, how to be able to create their business, how to be able to innovate? As Africa, we are playing catch up. And as we are playing catch up, because of obviously we're economically behind to begin with, and then now we're also trying to catch up with the first world, but we are lowering our education system. So that's what I'm gonna be talking about today. But before I continue, I want to tell you to subscribe to my channel, Rachel Wainaina. You can follow me on Facebook, Rachel Njeri Wainaina, the same on Instagram and on Twitter. I'll really appreciate. And also, if you like the kind of content I'm doing right now, the way I see it, subscribe, click on that notification bell so that you can be reminded anytime I share the content, so that we can continue to go ahead. And if you like what you're watching, please give me a thumbs up and comment in the comment section so that I can be encouraged to continue giving you this content. This content is for people who want to hear unfiltered content. They want to hear the truth, and they want to see things the other way. And just to remind you, this is my opinion. Okay, so let's come back to the curriculum debate. We go to school, we learn theory, but how can we apply this theory? I've been, focusing on developing curricula for some time now for various institutions, and I've realized that majority of the schools lack the necessary infrastructure to be able to teach. Let's start with our like the nursery school and the pre-unit. Nowadays we don't have baby class. When you start there, that's a developing child. What are you teaching them? Do you have to teach them, how to pronounce? Is it just language? Is nursery school just a place to learn language? Or is it a place to start learning more about life, to start learning more about the differences? For instance, the difference between a boy and a girl. Yeah, you find most people in nursery school, they still don't know the difference. They don't know the difference between this is my brother, this is my friend, and I can't have friendship with the opposite gender to this level. And then you also find that in the world we are living in, the parents are so busy. so they don't have time to also teach these things to their children. This is the time where you're shown, yeah, girls, as a girl, there's a way you need to carry yourself. This is the place where you should be taught when you're eating, you should be quiet, some table manners and other things. So where are those things in our curriculum? You'll find we just base, actually, if you go to the nursery school and pre-unit up to class 1, and you can bear with me, you know, it's just language. Why are you just first teaching people language? I mean, there's a lot they can learn. I know now we have this new CBC curriculum, which is trying to bring some practicals, but you've seen what we've been teaching our children with for a longest time is that technology. The children should start learning technology as soon as they enter school. They should learn more about sports. They should start discovering their talents. Also, they should learn more about the arts. We should start seeing some innovation, even some science, because this is going to be the future that you want to take your child towards. So we want to see from the basic level of education that the child is getting to understand why are they learning this and how can this be able to make them discover their talents. And also, when these children are in school, it's important to have clubs and programs that encourage them to shine at particular things. You find some children are very good in spelling, others are very good in, you know, debating, others are very good in sports. When they are very, very young, we've even seen young artists, 4 years old, but can really, really sing. Then, will you now start teaching this child how to sing when they're 8 or 9? No, you should begin immediately. That same problem of teaching people theory, a friend of mine once told me that he learned how to do computer engineering on the blackboard, and I asked him how did you learn how to do computer engineering? It's impossible. You need a computer in order to be able to learn how to do computer engineering. And he said, I'm not kidding you. I went to, I'm not going to mention a university, a particular public university in Kenya for 5 years. I was just being taught engineering on the blackboard. There was nothing, no other option for me than to learn engineering on the blackboard. And I was like, how do you learn? To be honest, that is a waste of a human being's time. So I feel like sometimes we give excuses and we say, oh, let the government form a committee. A committee for what? We need to use our brain. What is this education helping our kids with? That's why you see somebody going through the 844 system to the end. And still, they're just done ahead, let's say like that. And that's why you see even somebody leading and becoming the best because they cram. And then they become the best. They get an A- or an A. And then they are not doing well in life afterwards. They are not able to compete. They are not able to be innovative because they're used to cramming. We need to change some things. And what we need to do to change in our curriculum is the foundation. What do we have to ask ourselves, what are the learning objectives? Now, let me tell you the loopholes you can find in the curricula, whether you're learning in a professional program. Actually, first, I just want to let you know, like, I have an organization. It's called the Youth Film Platform Africa. And in my organization, I call it a professional training organization. We don't give academic certificates. We're not interested. We just like, okay, go learn the academics wherever you can learn. Come to us. Let us show you the practicals. Let us get you to the film set. Let's get you to make your blog or make your podcasts in digital content creation. Or let's get you to perform some stunts. Let's get you working. Let's get you to the industry. That's why, for instance, you find there are so many professional programs in the market. For instance, in entrepreneurship, there's Academy of Women Entrepreneurs. In film, for example, there's Youth Film Platform Africa, there is Multi-Choice Talent Factory, there is Kenya Film School, which are actually not very academic institutions. They're actually driven to help people get into the industry, equip them with skills that they can actually get into the industries. I'm not saying any of these schools are bad. I'm just saying we need to balance the curriculum and complement one another. And once you start now understanding where we are, because we are using a curriculum, let me ask you a question. When you say you want your child to be a doctor, what do you mean? You want your child to be an employee, right? That's what it is. That's why you want them to study medicine so that they can be employed, because in your opinion, doctors are paid the best salaries, which is not bad. You can be employed, but the same child deserves a knowledge of entrepreneurship, so that as much as they go and learn about medicine, if they want to set up their own hospital, they want even to start an innovation, they can still be able to start it. But now, the stupidity that we have in these industries, training industry, is that we want to force somebody to be a one-dimensional person. I don't believe there's a one-dimensional person. I believe that as much as you're a doctor, you can find that you can sing well, you can do you have some gifts and talents that you can use. And somebody should be able to use all these things that they are God-given to actually, not be in a box and try to see which one can make money for them. For instance, let me use an industry professional from Kenya. Let me use Wahoo and Nameless. Nameless is an architect. Wahoo is an actuarial scientist. But they're very good in singing. This is science and art combined together. So how can you then teach such a student so that they don't lose their bearing on anything that they're doing? We need to change the way we do this. And I'm going to talk about a few components of a curriculum that are very, very important. First, we need to rewrite our African curriculum. Why? Because it was written by the colonialists, period. The colonialists were just teaching us how to work for them, believe me or not. How can we work for you? Not how can we become bosses. How can we employ you? The colonialists did not care. They did not think how we could employ them. They thought, how can we be employed by them? Be paid by them? How can they control us? Guys, we are very smart people in Africa. We have very smart minds in Africa. But the way we teach them, and when you teach somebody from a young age, you teach them to be lazy, you teach them to cram in order to pass exams. That's what you're teaching them. You don't even have geniuses at the age of 7 who are innovating something in school, because we don't even have equipment in schools to take care of innovation. You find a child is taking off cables in your house and trying to innovate something. Maybe they know how to do it. Then you beat them up. You kill their talent. And then the schools are not providing this talent. And just to burst your bubble, when you pay to go to a school like Brookhouse Schools, for example, which is an international school in Kenya, you don't get the same quality of education as if you go through the 844 system. Those guys are thorough. They have music. They have performance arts. They have a theater where the kids go to compete. They really invest in sports. They invest in exposure and experience. Let's talk about what you're supposed to be getting when you go to school. You're supposed to be getting experience. You're supposed to be getting exposure. You're supposed to be getting education. That's the holy truth. So, for instance, let's break down engineering or some of these courses that our parents always want us to do. So, when you go to learn engineering, you need to get the education of engineering. The education will help you to make decisions in engineering. But that's not the only thing. You need to get the experience. So, what is experience? Experience is learning on the job. You cannot tell me that a 3 months internship will help an engineer become an engineer. It's not right. They are not going to. That's why you see many companies, when they're advertising, they say over 2 years of experience or something like that. Why do they say that? They say that because they know if you're not experienced, you're going to go and disturb them and they're going to end up becoming your teachers. You should learn in school. You should meet the other engineers in school. You should get a lot of time to spend time with other engineers, whether it's electrical engineers or whatever. You should be innovating when you're in school. Then when you go out, you should be ready for the market. There should not be a mismatch between what the industry needs and what we are producing. Okay? Even when we produce a Form 4 leaver nowadays cannot be able to plug into the job market. Why? Why aren't we teaching these people entrepreneurship skills, life skills like communication skills, how to write your CV, how to create your CV when you're in high school? For instance, if you're a head boy, that's part of your CV. It shows leadership. How can you grow that so that you can start working as soon as you leave Form 4, you're already working? You want something at Science Congress. You are good in drama, so you can start acting. You can start doing something. I feel like our curriculum is just to give you knowledge, but not the experience and not the exposure. You don't even know what are other people doing. We're just writing right now a proposal for a client. And we were looking at, for instance, in my field, which is filmmaking, we were looking at the way we teach and the way other schools teach. For instance, you find like in New York Film Academy, these guys will give their students 80% practicals and 20% theories. And even in the theories, there's a lot of practicals. Things like film appreciation, going to study a film to see the characteristics of a film and all that. You see, these people will invest in such things. Their students make over 5,000 films every year. Okay? In Kenyan schools today, first of all, you find film students going to make a film with a video camera, and they're being told they're making a film. A film which cannot even show in any international theater, can only show in a PowerPoint projector, to be honest. And then that's what you're giving your students, telling them those equipments will help them to make films. When they go to the industry, they'll find people using 8K cameras and other equipment, then they'll not be able to use it. Then, of course, nobody is there to teach. Nobody cares to teach these people about that. Yes, so that will really affect the performance of these people in the marketplace. So that's why you're seeing there's a low admission rate. So what are the areas in the curriculum that you should watch out for? First of all, every curriculum should have an objective. So when somebody is in primary school, when somebody is in nursery, when somebody is in a college, we should know the learning objectives. Remember, curriculum is not for you as the teacher, what you think. It's what the learner needs. So you should, first of all, I always tell people, when you're thinking about the curriculum you're going to use, start with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. Start to think, where do I want my students to go? In professional programs, we are very careful because we are very results driven. So we are like, okay, I want my students to get a job and to be able to make many projects. So we'll be able to say that if you go to an NGO and they're doing a program, they must make sure they evaluate the learning objectives. So that's very, very important. Then the other thing is, don't adjust so much till itaharibika. Unadjust camera. Okay. So you will find that, like for instance, when you go to NGOs and other places, they'll pay time to work on the learning objectives. They will work on the learning objectives. They will know exactly what they want to give the students, and they'll communicate that information to the students. Remember, what the parents want when they bring kids to your schools is that. Secondly, career guidance, very important. Before you recruit somebody to come to your institution, please give them career guidance. Please confirm whether they are taking the right course. It will be so sad to waste a student's 3 years. Students don't know anything. You have to tell them. You have to find out their potential and the areas which they shine best and guide them. That's why they've come to you. People are paying a lot of money, but they're getting zero value for their money. So it's very important for you to also tell the student, okay, try to sit with the student and understand where the student fits best, and also create the mentorship component in your curriculum where they can get life mentorship. Because, school is not all about studying. It's also about getting some life skills. It's about knowing how to talk, how to sit, how to dress, how to smell. All these things matter in the professional world. They will make somebody lose a job. So why can't you incorporate these things in the curriculum? It will make the curriculum better. Now, let's look also at the issue of, these learning objectives, they should match with the content. So for instance, when you say, I want my students to get jobs after the end of this training, and then what you're teaching them is just techniques. You're teaching them, this is how you use a camera, this is how you write, or this is how you write a business plan in a business course. That's what you're teaching. But you forget that the business aspect is what is going to make them be able to fit in the professional industry. For instance, things like branding, communication, which are not technical units that you're teaching, but are very important. Distribution, where are they taking? Like in film, we have film distribution. Where are they going to get the services? We have licenses, we have legal issues that will affect them when they go out there. So I feel like we try to make our curriculum so difficult, and I've read through so many government actually written curriculums, and what I can tell you is, first of all, and I'm going to be controversial right now, when you're teaching a film student and you're teaching them with the wrong camera, you're conning them. When you're teaching a video student and you're teaching them with a film camera, you're conning them. That's the truth of the matter. And then when you're teaching somebody techniques and you're not teaching them business, what you're doing is that you're already telling them, I've already blocked your doors, so you can only become an employee. Who told you the same student cannot become a film distributor, cannot even innovate and come up with their own Netflix or Amazon Prime? Who told you that? Why do you have to decide that for them? Why can't you give them all the skills they need? And I'm talking about foundational courses. Because before you specialize, then you need to do foundational courses.